Welcome everybody to another great episode of Real Life Matters. My name is DBoss. I have a hip hop artist, somebody who is he's charting the charts right now. He hopes to come up there, right there where he's supposed to. And I have no other than Jair Dynast. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, Jair, I'm so excited to hear you today. So can you tell everybody where you come from?
Well, I was born in Barbados, so that's my ethnic background, and I grew up here in Toronto, currently living in Scarborough.
Wow. Well, I hope everybody in Barbados and those people down there, big up to your family. I know that's not your name is a different name from your artist name, so I guess your family will see you down there.
Yeah, they know me as Kier Bryan.
Kier?
Yeah. So what's up, everybody in Barbados? I'm glad to see you guys.
Me too. Well, I know you've been doing music and more music, right?
Yeah, I've been doing music for quite some time. I would say I probably started doing music a long time ago. I was actually in a group, and we started out, I think, in around like 2000, 2001. We put out a couple of vinyl records. We were called Sublime Rhyme back in the day. It's like
Sublime Rhyme?
Yeah, this is going way back.
So how many people were in the band?
It was just myself and a friend of mine. His name's Kevin. And so we put out like one vinyl record. We went down to Atlanta. We did a few shows here and there and stuff like that. Just it was a real low level. Our first experience, we were kids, just really exploring the music business. Then we moved on to form a bigger group called The Network. So shout out to those guys. There was about I think 5 or 6 of us in that group, and we were doing our thing here locally in Toronto, doing local shows. We connected with a few people from the States and stuff like that. And some local artists here. And then I decided that I would things didn't really work out with the whole group situation. And so I decided I would go on my own as an artist. And so like back in 2006, I released my first solo offering. The first one I actually was like a record, an album that I produced. So it still had some of the guys from my past on the record, but they were all records that I like made the music for and stuff like that. And then I came out with my debut album, which was called Violence. It was an acronym. It meant vicious ignorance amounts to little except negative consequences in expression. So yeah, it's a big mouthful.
It is a lot. It's a lot
right?
to entail, because you're like, oh my God. Because, when everybody does those acronyms, like the whole thing into the actual what it is.
Yeah.
But who inspired you to start rapping?
It's an interesting interesting question, because so what happened was originally my whole life, I thought when I was young, was planned out. I was playing basketball, and I was really good at basketball, and I lived, eat, sleep, drink basketball, right? And so my thing was like, I'm going to be a professional basketball player. And so through all my hard work, I end up earning myself a basketball scholarship to a school in Texas. Shout out to South Plains. And from there, I was getting some interest from some Division I schools like Oregon State and stuff like that. And I was supposed to pursue that once I finished my year at South Plains. But then, as life goes.
And what position did you play?
I was a point guard, obviously. I'm pretty small.
Well,
so
I played basketball. I was center forward, so we had to go.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'd be hooking you up with all the lobs so you can dunk it on everybody.
I can play pretty good. Back then I was playing.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. So what ended up happening was they discovered that I had a heart condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. And so the doctors told me that I can no longer play basketball at that kind of level. And as I said, like that was my whole life. So it kind of hit me for 6. The Bajans would know about that saying, hit me for 6. Right?
I don't know about it, but
it's a cricket term, right?
Oh, okay.
So it really turned me over, and like I didn't know what else I was gonna really do with my life, because everything was about playing basketball, getting an education, and then using that vehicle to move on. And so my mom was like, what are you going to do now? You obviously got to find something to do. And I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, well, you're always listening to that rap music. What about that rap? What about that? And, funny enough, I thought, hey, why not? Right. And so that's how I got into doing music from my mom's suggestion. My friend Kevin, he had already been rapping and stuff like that. So I reached out to him, and, we formed a little group, and we bought a bunch of equipment and everything like that. And, before you know it, I was making beats in my basement and recording records, having guys come through. We had a little small studio. We used to call it Squinch because it was like this little room, you know what I'm saying? And that's how I got into it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, your career, you had a song that you did. Did you write this one, Profiling?
Yeah.
So how'd you come up with that?
Well, that one was just based off of pure life experience, right? Like that song is actually what happened to me. Like that moment. I was just describing what happened to me when I was I would say about 12 or 13 years old. I went into like a corner store in my neighborhood, and some other kids came in the corner store at the same time, and they decided they were going to rush the store and grab a bunch of stuff, you know what I'm saying? And they did that, and they left, and I left, didn't take anything, nothing like that. And then I was walking with another friend of mine, and the police roll up, because back then I had big hair. Like my hair is kind of messy now, but I used to have, I don't know if you remember the high top fades. I used to have like a, what I'm saying? I used to have one of those big high top fades, because I was like, everybody was rocking that, right? So obviously I was recognizable in terms of that. And so I guess the store owner or whatever said that there was this black kid who was there with this high top fade and da. So long story short, we're walking down the street not too far from where the store was, and the cops pull up, and they're like, and they basically like arrested me for theft, right?
So you were profiled,
right?
You were
definitely
were profiled, and they thought it was you when it wasn't.
It wasn't me. And so the song basically illustrates it all. Like I was in their little interrogation room. They came in and they said that I stole. I don't know if you remember those little chocolate things called Joe Louis. Little round things.
Something from Toronto.
I used to eat those a lot. Yeah, it must be a Toronto thing, right?
That must be a Toronto. What's it called, John Louis?
No, Joe Louis.
Joe Louis.
Yeah, Joe Louis. It's a little chocolate like cake thing or whatever.
Oh, Jean Louis.
Yeah, maybe I'm saying it wrong, right? You know what I mean?
I know
Joe Louis, Jean Louis, whatever.
One little cake with the cream inside with the gel. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Jean Louis.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
okay, now I know. Right. So they came into the interrogation room, and they're like, "You stole this," and threw it in my face, and then told me to pick it up. Right. And I'm like, I'm not picking that up. I didn't steal that. If I pick it up, then my fingerprints are on it now. And now you have proof that I had something to do with it. I'm not touching that. Right. And so long story short, they actually started like kicking me and, hitting me and stuff like that. I'm a little guy, like 13 years old, and I'm like, yo, all I want is to talk to my mom. Let me call my mom. And I called my mom, and, my mom came there and she went nuts. She's like, what are you in here hitting my son for? This and that, blah, blah, blah.
You see, but that's a difficult, issue today, because, a lot of people were profiled as that, and they thought it was you. So what happened to the other kids? They never caught up with them?
No, that's the thing, right? Like, I think my friend that was with me happened to be this girl, and they picked her up for a bit, and I think eventually the charges got dropped, right?
Yeah.
There was no proof, and when like it actually went to trial, and the store owner showed up at the trial and said no, like she was like this Asian lady, and she's like, no, it wasn't them or whatever, right? And so then the charges got dropped or whatever, but the actual people who actually did all that, they never got picked up. It was just just us.
Well, you're just lucky that the lady knew, because sometimes they think, well, maybe all black people look alike, or they don't know the shade, or they don't know something. The
joke about that whole situation is there was no black people in the store besides me. So that's the funny part, right? The kids that decided to rush that store, none of them were black. Like, because I knew who the kids were, right? Because they're from my area or whatever, right? But they weren't black. But somehow, unfortunately, the way how things work out, once you start getting in around like 12, 13, those kind of things as a young black man here in North America, your life changes. Like, I have a son and a daughter coming up, and right now for them, life is beautiful. Like, it's all fun and games, and like, I'm dreading the day that I have to sit down and say to my son, listen, you're starting to get to a certain age where I know you're still a kid, but there's some people in this society that are gonna see you as an adult now, and they're gonna perpetuate a stereotype on you that unfortunately doesn't necessarily fit you, because that's not who you are, but because of the color of your skin and because of their bigoted mindset, this is what you're gonna have to be prepared to deal with.
Well, everybody listening out there, this is real life, man. I'm talking to somebody here that actually got profiled and actually went to the holding and went to trial and everything, and then they got the charges released. But Jair, this is something that you came through that. You came through that thing, and now you're doing a lot of other things, right? So from that experience, you took the positive from the negative from that situation, but now you're saying it in your music, correct?
Right, exactly. Yeah, because that's just one of many of those same situations that I personally have gone through, right? And friends of mine and whatnot. So I decided that I'm gonna put this on a record and put it out there for people to consume, and it was a record I actually wrote probably about 10 years ago. Wow. Right. So the funny thing about it is that even it still applies to a lot of what's happening now, right? And so so I've always been like this in terms of my music. I try to be real about my music, and so everything that I kind of write comes from my situation, and I try to relate messages to try to uplift people who are kind of walking in the same path that I'm walking, kind of thing. So I guess it's sort of like edutainment, you would say, or whatnot. And so I'm definitely trying to take things that happen to me in life and try to put a positive twist on it as much as possible. I think that's kind of my calling, because even outside of music, what I do is I work with youth,
and that's another thing that you took another thing out of a negative situation because of your health. You couldn't play the basketball, pro basketball, that and that I can imagine that just something that everybody wants to play basketball. You got the scholarship, and then you have a health issue, and now you're going to be opening something here. Tell us a little about that. What you're doing here in Toronto?
Yeah, so now I went back into basketball from a coaching perspective, and I work with a few different companies around the GTA in terms of coaching youth basketball. And one of those companies is called QSLA. It's Quantum Sports Learning Association. And we are actually building a facility at DuPont and Davenport called the Ballmatic Center. And just to give you a little bit of background about that program, the Ballmatics program itself is a program that blends basketball with math. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to have the athletes become not only proficient at playing basketball, but also proficient at mathematics and other academic studies. We follow like the STEM and STREAM model. And so the facility, when people join our teams or whatnot, they're not only just there to practice basketball. A portion of their practice is actually dedicated to like academic studies and stuff like that.
I think that's a very good program, because a lot of these guys just playing ball, and they have to keep their level up if they want to come in the finals. And a lot of them don't know how to do the math. Some of them don't know how to write. Some of them don't know how to. They just want to play. All I want to do is go play basketball. But you got to learn how to manage your money.
You got to have a foundation, right? Even just to attain a basketball scholarship, right? Like this is something that I tell all our athletes. Just to attain that basketball scholarship, you have to meet a certain grade point average, and you have to maintain that grade point average throughout your whole college life in order to be qualified to play, right? So what we're trying to do is prepare them from now when they're young to blend that, to know that these two things, they go hand in hand, right?
And the mathematics is, I hated math.
Yeah, see, we're trying to change that sentiment, right?
I know.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
I hated math, but you know what? And you're gonna get a little bit of those kids, those little bad ones there. They're going, oh, I don't want to do that. Can I play? So I guess you guys are gonna have to be the ones, the disciplinarian.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you get that, but it's like the basketball is the motivation. So what we find is we don't really have a lot of kids that are like that come into our program. They're actually very, very receptive to it. They understand this is the process. We're gonna do this math lesson right at the beginning of practice. We'll do a math lesson, right?
Oh, so
yeah, right at the beginning.
So a short
the
beginning.
Yeah, it's
so
really
when they
short.
come in there, they're already prepared for that.
Right.
Wow.
So they come right on the court. We do it, right? So it's like 10 minutes of math right on the court, and it's always math that relates to the basketball, right? So like whatever we're doing in the basketball, we actually take data from the basketball. Like say for example, we might be doing a few shooting drills or something like that, right? And then we'll take like statistics from the shooting drills and then apply that to the math. So then they get to see how shooting percentages are calculated, or Pythagorean theorem is used to do this, whatever it is.
How much times if you're in the box for 30 seconds, and if you're running the plays, they have to understand 1, 2, 3, and they got to know that everybody has to be in sync. I played basketball too, so
yeah,
you can always feel if somebody is not in the game,
right? And
you'll go, "Hey, Jair, you there?"
Yeah.
And it's funny, people who don't play sports don't understand, but you feel your players because you're that close to them.
Yeah.
So because they got to hear it, they got to know if they're feeling good. Oh, you know what? I don't think Jair's too. I don't think something's going on with him today, but he's going to have to just clear his mind and play.
Right, exactly. Yeah, there's numbers and everything, right? So it's a good blend of things.
You do that for some adults too.
Hey, we're open to that as well. Why not, right?
Some of them need to come and learn some math skills.
Yeah, we can use the basketball for that as well. Yeah.
Do an assignment. You might get a little rebuttal.
For sure.
But anyways, okay, well, tell us about your single that you wrote, you're doing now, your new one. You didn't release it yet. It's released, but you just don't have the video.
Yeah.
It's At Risk, and tell us a little bit about that.
Okay,
we're gonna play that at the end.
Yeah, so At Risk is my new single. And basically that one is it's taken from a perspective of a person who just died. And they're speaking to their mom, and they're apologizing to their mom because they didn't make it home. And because so what it is that this person is basically reflecting on their life and the choices that they've made. They were out in the streets, doing those different things that happen out there, and that caused their death. But they also talk about how society and the whole structure of society, the systemic racism and stuff like that also played a part in why they made the choices they made that got them to the point they're at, and also their own choices and taking responsibility for the fact that sometimes it's us, sometimes we got to look at ourselves too, right? Like there's a lot of situations, like right now here in Toronto, there's the gun violence is insane, right? Like there's kids. We've got young rappers, we've got regular. Just what is it? A couple of days ago or a week ago, we had an innocent kid ended up losing their life because they got shot when they were just walking down the street with their mom in a tough neighborhood. You know what I mean? So and all of that, the song Profiling can directly point the finger at the police for that situation, right? But these other situations, sometimes we got to stop and look at ourselves and point the finger at ourselves. Like, when are we going to realize that, yes, society's been set up a certain way and there's certain things that's going on, but we still have a responsibility to ourselves to try to change the trajectory of our path, right? And so that's what what at risk basically kind of like discusses. Like it's
talking about issues. It's talking about issues of today,
right?
You know, and you know, a lot of people don't understand. Like when you have videos and you're cutting a video, it's very important when you cut these videos that who you want in while you're cutting that video in, because if someone's not in it and they think, oh, I was at the recording studio, I was there through the whole thing. Next thing they get mad because their name isn't on the music and they had nothing to do with it. So those things start a lot of rivalries too. So you have to know from your gut, okay, you know what, I know you're my friend, but I think you gotta, you know, I'm gonna just go into the studio and do this on my own. And you know, a lot of people that we know, entertainers, they tell people that, but some people don't listen. And then after, when the song comes out, they want to get money, they want to get this, they want to get that. Then they come back, oh yeah, you know what? I wasn't even on the video. You're making, there's Jair making all this money, and then come next time they come and they want to shoot somebody, and and it's not right. You know, it's not right. And but you know, that's where artists have to set those parameters.
Yeah, for sure. We're responsible for what we put out there in the universe, right? Like, you know, guys got to be conscious of what you're saying on your records, what you're depicting in your videos. You know, just overall, like it's just a rule of thumb I think would be wise for what's being perpetuated. I mean, even like from like the media perspective, there's a lot of like focus on more like the more negative records are more fun, they're more cool, they're more like they're pushing those more, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
you know, it's tough.
But create music with a thought. But we're gonna play your video, and we're gonna have to have you come back because I know you're probably gonna be working on other stuff, and I want to hear about that. Yeah. I want to hear about the basketballs. Just tell everybody where they can reach you at social media. Yeah, you're gonna see a lot more of this guy here because he's talking music and talking to people out there. Support him because and watch his stuff because it's teaching people profiling and all that. All right.
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at Jair Dynast. That's JairDynast. You can also find me on Facebook, Jair Dynast Music. You can find on my website, JairDynast.com. You can also find my music on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, basically all the platforms that are available to consume music. And my YouTube is Jair Dynast TV.
All right. Well, you know, Jair, this was wonderful. I tell you, the time goes so fast.
Yeah.
When you're having fun and you're giving a lot of information. Yeah. But anyways, I do want to thank you for coming today.
Yeah, I appreciate
it. On Real Life Matters, you know, we talk about real topic, and this is a real matter for Jair Dynast. And you know something, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. We're going to see his video profiling. And and please follow me on Instagram, DBoss _1 on Instagram. Go to Real Life Matters, and you can also go to my YouTube channel, DBoss Networks, and you'll find me. So anyways, bye for now. Thank you, everybody.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Real shit. Yeah, picture them tatted beige bricks decorating my turf. Where cops raid shit, then accumulate the work. Where I learn to blaze tracks like rosters high grade. Learn about racial profiling at a young age. Posted on my block like them transit signs. Boy, them took me down like that Francis line. Locked in a confines, unlawful interrogation. I fit the profile of a young black Jamaican. I'm Asian, but they claiming I rob Asian stores. Like you stole this merchandise here and more. Threw it in my face, talking about pick that shit up. Yo, you think I'm stupid, dog? You shit out of luck. Cause if I pick that shit up, then I'm dumb as fuck. My fingerprints be on it and you got me stuck. Me being smart made them pussies more vexed. So you done know the flex, yeah. The beatings, they came next. Cause they profiling, analyzing me. Black, so I guess I had to be the criminal that you saw me. I ain't your scapegoat, so I hope you see. You profiling, analyzing me. Black, so I guess I had to be the criminal that you saw me. I ain't your scapegoat, so I hope you see. them charges would drop. Insufficient evidence, while popular culture reinforced the relevance of their stereotypical ideas and views. Since 32 shootings were reported news, now all hood residents got criminal nature. Yeah, like all white guys fit the profile raper or BTK, you know that bind, torture and kill. Police criminals manipulate this shit with skills, playing your stereotypes like a minstrel show, performing their game and steady earning they flow. But poverty's to blame, you done know the culprit. You wanna take and love in the mold and sculpt it. Corrupt like Chow Young Fat on your silver screens. Niggas dying over green in your income streams. You're living in the burbs, wife and 2.5 kids, working in the hood, citing 2.5 bids. You profiling, analyzing me. Black, so I guess I had to be the criminal that you saw me. I ain't your scapegoat, so I hope you see. You profiling, analyzing me. Black, so I guess I had to be the criminal that you saw me. I ain't your scapegoat, so I hope you see. You profiling.
Thank you.